What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 7. Can you believe it, Joey? 7.
Woo!
Oh, man, it's been a fun ride so far, and I can't wait to see where else it takes us. But before we jump into anything else, Joey, tell us the good news that you have been waiting to tell everybody.
Ding dong, the witch is gone. I'm not going to say dead because he's still alive, but
No, he's
Angel
still alive.
Hernandez is retiring from umpiring baseball, and you have no idea how happy that makes me. I posted a GIF or a meme earlier today. It was it's that one of, I guess it's the Bloods and the Crips with their bandanas tied together and they're holding it up together. Yes, we can all unite. Red Sox fans, Yankees fans, Dodgers fans, Giants fans, unite. He's gone. We don't have to deal with him anymore.
The only umpire that has a stronger prescription glasses than I do.
So you say that. John Boy Media, I think it was on Instagram, posted a video of
Shout out to them, by the way.
going through a timeline of everyone reacting to Angel Hernandez retiring, and there was an article that was spammed in that post from LASIK.com. And I'm like, you can't write it any better.
So for the uninitiated, Angel Hernandez was a major league umpire.
I'll tell you this much. Look up Angel Hernandez's best calls. The video might be like 10 seconds. Look up Angel Hernandez's worst calls, and you might have a 4-hour video.
It like I said, for those who don't know and aren't super familiar with baseball, which we haven't talked about a lot here, so he is notorious for not being consistent with his strike zone. Things that are strikes in the first inning aren't strikes in the third inning. He's missed a bunch of calls, and he's famous for a lot of people blowing up on him and him throwing people out, and it's quite comical.
If somebody is as bad at their job as he has been, they'd be fired.
Well, I mean, considering he had to sue to not be fired.
He had to sue to not get fired. He had to sue because he didn't get the World Series because he doesn't believe in a meritocracy.
Being good at
like
your job.
The biggest. So from what I've heard, the only reason he retired now was because him and Major League Baseball finally agreed on a retirement plan. And
yeah.
I would imagine that conversation probably took about 10 minutes because of some of the calls he's made this year. And it was like, listen, what do you want? And Angel Hernandez said what he wanted for his retirement plan. And Rob Manfred and all the higher ups got together and said, this is what he wants. And everyone said, yes, let him have it. Because they don't want him in baseball anymore. The only reason that meeting probably took as long as it did was because they couldn't get in contact with the A's owner because he doesn't even know what team he owns. He made a video. He made a video. Okay, my little rant box for a second on the A's owner.
Go ahead.
He made a video about the A's, but he put the Atlanta Braves logo in it. Like it was about the A's, and the Atlanta Braves A was in the video, and it's like, bro, do you even know what team you own? And you're moving the team?
I think he's just trying to troll Oakland enough now.
You are giving him way too much credit for how stupid he is.
I like to think there's some.
I don't know this person
behind the madness.
I don't know this person, but he seems to be a complete dumbass.
Well, you heard it here.
Like, how do you not like? You own the team. How do you not know the logo? If there's something I own and it's got a logo on it, I know what the logo looks like. If I own a Ford, I know that I have a Ford logo. I'm not going to say, look at my proud Ford Chevy logo on that thing.
Well, I think that speaks volumes to why the A's are where they're at right now.
It's bad. Like, I feel so bad for Oakland
terrible.
fans. Like, Oakland has its problems. Yes, New Orleans has its problems. All cities have their problems. I think the fans of Oakland deserve to have a sports team. Like, give them something. They work hard enough. What's that?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there is many other teams in the state of California. If you honestly think if they put another team in the state of Louisiana and the Saints or whoever weren't drawing people, like let's say the Pelicans, because the Pelicans, there's been times where they don't draw whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think they move. I think they like having a stronghold of New Orleans and having a, because you don't want everything in Texas, but you still want the Gulf Coast, right?
So I can't speak for baseball because there's 163 games or 162 games. That's
162. Yeah.
81 games at home.
Yep, 81.
Most by far by any sport in the world in a season.
Yes.
I think if you like, that's watering down. Like, if you miss the game, say like there's a game tonight and it's like, man, I'm not going to go to the game tonight. I could go to the game on Wednesday. I'll just wait till Wednesday. Why
There's
go
no
tonight?
stakes.
Yeah, there's like, if there's a Saints game, I look at it and I go, hey, there's only 8 to 9 opportunities to go see them. I'll pick one of the, like, if I have an opportunity, I'll more than likely cancel my plans to go to the game.
Well, it also has to go to, like you said, that the fact that there is so many of them, it really just dilutes the importance, right? Like you said, you can just go to a different game or not have to worry about it. But you're like, oh crap, I only get, like you said, 8 opportunities a year. I better take it while I got it, right? And it makes complete sense.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's, I can understand, because there's a team on the other side of the bay, competitive market, but that team was successful at one point.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, they all are.
At some point, you have to start looking at the product on the field and going, maybe I should start spending a little more money, because that's probably the biggest problem with the A's is you get a superstar and, your fans get invested in him only for him to go to eventually more than likely the Yankees, because for a while, the A's were the Yankees farm team.
Well, so I do get that if they aren't bringing in the money, you can't justify shelling it out more, because ultimately at the end of the day, it is a business.
Mm-hmm.
But I do understand where you're coming from, where it's like, if you do have a piece in place that can possibly raise the standard and, I don't know, draw more free agents, get people to come consistently, and because the team's winning, then yeah, you need to pour money into it to make sure it keeps going. But if it's not a winning product on the field and you just have a superstar, then it's not worth it.
Like, you need an established star on the team to sell.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
then people want to see you. Like, Aaron Judge for the Yankees. People want to see him hit home runs. Mike Trout, they want to see him hit home runs.
They want to see
Shohei Ohtani, they want to see him strike people out. Paul Skeens, look what he's done for the Pirates.
You mean the gas station?
Exactly. Like, you have to give fans a reason to go to these games, and you're not doing that by sitting there and just saying like, oh, well, we wanted the money to come in, so we're not going to pay them. So then go buy, see ya.
So, and that brings an interesting debate too, whether should you focus more on, and I know we're kind of getting on a tangent here, but at least to me, like, you look at the Yankees, right? They are a brand. You look at the Dallas Cowboys, they are a brand. I think for the longevity of your organization, that's where you need to be. But I wholeheartedly agree with you. You need players to sell and to advertise and to basically give hope or a reason to go. I completely agree with that.
Like, what would be the point to go into a Yankee game if when Derek Jeter was a Yankee, he got traded 2 years later?
And you can see him now, but I get what you're saying.
But yeah, I'm saying, like, right now, if you look at it, what's the point in going? And, what's the point in going if your big star, like, look at most teams who have a big star that leaves. There's a decent drop off unless they sign somebody else that can fill those shoes. But if they don't if they don't sign somebody, somewhat perfect example. Okay. When the Hornets came in town, we had Baron Davis. Okay.
Yep.
I'd consider him the star of the team back then.
He was. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
he left. Sure. He left. Can you name me the star of the team when he left?
It was right before Paul.
Maybe Jamal Mashburn.
It would have to be Mashburn or
Jamal McGlure.
Yeah, one of those two.
Dan Dickow.
Wasn't PJ Washington. That's way too late. Who was that guy?
PJ Brown.
PJ Brown, that's what I'm thinking.
Like those
PJ
three
Washington,
guys,
that guy plays for the Mavs.
those three guys, like nothing against them. Like I've met PJ Brown; he's a very nice guy.
Nothing about the
But
personality. They just
yeah,
didn't
it's
have the
not the
star power.
personality. It's just they weren't the stars that they could have been. But there's no like recognizable name on that team. You get Chris Paul in, then he leaves. We got Eric Gordon. He didn't want to be here. Like
Both those trades are freaking terrible, though. I'm just saying.
Chris Kaman, how long was he here? 2 years.
2 years.
Al-Farouq Aminu, I couldn't remember his name for a second. You know, the guy with the highest freaking arc in basketball. You know,
Right.
there wasn't an established star here until Anthony Davis got here, and then when he left, we kind of lucked out because Zion was right behind him. But
Which
you know, you don't
we're getting
have
there with him.
yeah, but even still, like he's the face of the franchise.
Oh, 1,000%, especially after
You
this
know,
year.
you
Playing 70
had that
games.
1 year, you had that second year right before Chris Paul draft that we were almost like a ship without a rudder.
I think the technical term is garbage, but I'm not fluent in French.
Didn't we get him with the 5th pick?
Fourth
pick. I remember watching that draft.
God, who was it? So it was Bogut, Marvin Williams.
Did I lock?
Yeah. Darren Williams, then Chris Paul. That is sad that I know that off the top of my head like that. No, ladies and gentlemen, I did not have that on my show doc today.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to the future here. I love talking old Pelicans / Hornets and everything. And we made some great points. You know, Angel Hernandez, wish you the best life, but we're glad you're not here anymore playing.
Enjoy retirement.
Umpiring. Enjoy retirement.
Enjoy retirement. Like you need it.
Yes. And go see Stanton Optical. You know, they give out great prescription glasses.
I will say as we record a little bit of background for right now. It was storming outside, and I just heard the loudest, like my door shifted. So if you lose me midstream, it's because my power went out.
It's all good, man. All good.
Another thing I kind of want to get into with the quick hits is the Memorial Day Sunday. You know, you probably saw me post it. It's probably the greatest day in motorsports. We don't talk a lot about motorsports on this channel or on this podcast, but
yet.
Yet. But you know, you wake up. This is how I put it. You know, breakfast in Monaco, lunch in Indianapolis, dinner in Charlotte, and you know the Monaco Grand Prix won by someone born in Monaco. I'm not even going to try to say what you call them. You know, won by someone from Monaco for the first time in the 93-year history of the race. So congratulations to Charles Leclerc of Ferrari for that. The Indianapolis 500 kind of got some rain delay by about, I think, 4 hours.
Some delay.
I haven't watched the race yet. Yeah, I haven't watched the race yet, but I know who won. Back-to-back champion Joseph Newgarden with that win. I'm on lap 53 of watching it, so I don't know the details of everything. I do know that Kyle Larson did finish 500 miles of that race.
There were some cars.
I tell you what, I watched. Driving. So when you watch a car race, if they start on time, it's a feeling out process. Like you can see it. When you're sitting in a motorhome for 4 hours waiting to start the race and do the opening ceremonies and all that, which if you ever watch the Indy 500, the way that they do it in the beginning with the playing of taps, the 21 gun salute, you know, all the military aspect to really show like why we're able to do what we do, you know, thanking the military for the ultimate sacrifice that they make, you know, defending this country so that we can enjoy these days and all that. It really it really brings it to perspective what they do it for and why they do it. But the way that they honor the military every year, just it brings chills down the spine. You know, you hear that gun salute, you hear taps, God Bless America and the Star Spangled Banner just back to back. You know,
Brings chills to you.
it brings it hypes you up a little bit. It's like, man, like, you know, I'm ready for this event to start. And then they get the drivers to their cars. They sing, you know, Back Home Again in Indiana, which me telling you that, you're just like, okay, it's a song. I'm not from Indiana, but
Do you mean Sweet
I
Home
remember.
Alabama?
No,
I'm just
absolutely
messing
not.
with
They used to get Jim Neighbors to sing it, which, if you don't know who Jim Neighbors is, think Gomer Pyle.
you. Yeah, no, I know who Jim Neighbors is.
That dude, like, you hear him talk on the show and how he's all simple, like on the Andy Griffith show, and how he talks, you would not believe that this dude had a beautiful voice when he sang that and belted it out every year before the 500. And then the owner of the track or the president of the track would typically would kind of say something and then give the command to start their engines. And funny enough, the owner of the racetrack also owns cars in the Indy 5 that race in the IndyCar series, which is who runs the Indy 500. His car swept the front row, which is, I think, the first time in over 40 years that it's happened.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And they were going
that's
quick.
Insane, actually.
So I want to tell you something kind of funny. I want to see if this will amaze you a little bit. So the way they do qualifying is you're set by your average speed over the course of 4 laps.
Yeah.
The average speed for the pole sitter was 234 miles an hour.
Jeez, dude, come on now.
That dude is flying.
That is literally flying. Good
and
Lord.
I mean, you're watching, like, it's insane to watch it. Like, they hit the end of the straightaway, they're going 242 miles an hour in a car, in a vehicle that, if it spun around, like, and they stay pinned and they make a 90-degree turn. Like,
yeah,
it's insane. But so Joseph Newgarden won it back-to-back years. It hasn't happened since 2001, 2002, when Elio Castroneves did it. Member of the 4-time club, Elio. I think he'll be the first to win 5. I think he'll be the first to win 5 eventually.
Wow, 5. That'd be something else.
He'd be the only man to ever do it.
Good
AJ
Lord,
Foyt,
5.
Al Unser Sr., Rick Mears, like, better than them.
I'm just talking about like, just like you mentioned the talent already, then the talent that comes in, and then, you know, these people are always making adjustments, and because it's not just the drivers, right? People think it's like, oh, it's just the drivers that are doing all this. Like, no, it's the engineering behind it, it's the technology with the car, and that's constantly in flux and constantly improving. And so the fact that he can keep winning is more of a testament to him and his team. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. But qualifying, it's not just get in the car and pin it. It's, you know, you make a turn, you push a button, it moves something called a weight jacker, where it shifts the weight of the car so that you can take that turn a little harder. And then you're moving ballasts and, you know, changing all this stuff on the fly. Think you can barely, like, change the radio station in your car while you're driving. These guys are doing, and you're doing that at 35, 40, maybe 60. These guys are doing it at 240 miles an hour.
Yes.
It is insane. So Kyle Larson finishes the race in 18th. He ended up winning the rookie of the race, which is, it's a big deal in Indy that they do a rookie of the race. They do an awards ceremony the day after the 500. And he flew out to Charlotte. They already started the Coca-Cola 600, so he was going for 1,100 miles. It's also called doing the double. He landed in Charlotte, got to his pit box with his fresh fire suit on, helmet in hand, ready to go. Starts raining in Charlotte. They call the race. He didn't even run 1 lap.
Damn, that's a shame, man.
It's the biggest disappointment when they run the double. It's like, man, like, you want to see him do it. You want to see him finish it. But I saw his highlight from his interview back in Indy at the award ceremony last night, and he said hopefully they'll have him back. And the girl goes, next year, right? And he's like, I'm gonna have to do some convincing because of what happened this year. I'm like, dude, let him do it. Let him cook.
I mean,
I think if they give him next year to do it, he can win one of those races. This dude is so talented in a race car. Anything he gets in, he's fast. You know, dirt sprint car, quarter midget, cup car, Xfinity car, Indy car, like, anything you put him in, he's quick.
If somebody's willing to foot the bill, or if he is, for the travel and everything like that, then why not? Let him do it. Who cares?
Do you know who's fully behind it? His car owner, Rick Hendrick, because
And
he sponsored
his boss then,
his
right?
IndyCar. So Rick Hendrick owns car dealerships.
Yeah.
HendrickCars.com is like basically a place to buy and sell vehicles.
Is he Hendrick Motorsports, right?
Yes. He got with McLaren, who owns a team in IndyCar, Arrow McLaren, and he said, "Hey, look, I'll put my name on the car, and give us a car." Done. The other guy that's in charge, Zach Brown, he's a racer. He loves motorsports. He loves people doing this kind of stuff. So I think if they can get together and kind of make it happen again and get the funding for a car, which again, Rick Hendrick has oodles of cash. He probably has in his bank account. If you look hard enough, you'll find a duck swimming around in his bank account.
There you go. Like Scrooge McDuck kind of style?
Yeah, I'm hoping people get that reference. If not, oh my God.
I got you, buddy.
Like it can happen again. And I think, you get rid of the weather and it'll happen. It definitely took the wind out of the sails a little bit of the day when it was like, oh, this race isn't going to happen for 4 hours talking about Indy. It's like, but he could have done it.
Yeah, but sometimes logistics don't just work out for you, right?
Yeah,
or Mother Nature's a fickle beast.
Yeah, it happens, but it'll work out one time. There's only been one driver to complete the double.
Well,
Tony Stewart in 2001, he finished. I want to say finished 4th in Indy, and he finished 6th in Charlotte. 1,100 miles, and all he had in the middle of the first time he attempted it was like a Nutri-Grain bar in the plane, and when he got out, he's like, "Ooh." So the second time he did it, when he completed it, it was, yeah, let's do this right.
Yeah, right. Let's get some real nourishment in here.
Yeah.
So, Broseph, anything else you would want to hit on these quick hits before we get into our big three discussion today?
Let's get into it.
All right. Well, you heard the man, and I'm not going to delay any further. 3 things we're going to talk about today. We got 2 conference final series in the NBA, and 1 that we're going to talk about from the NHL, which is the Dallas Stars. We're going to close that up as we always do on this channel. We save the best for last. But right now, we're going to jump into the NBA, like I said. So, Bros, where do you want to jump first? You want to go Western Conference or Eastern Conference?
Let's call it where it's done. Let's talk Boston Indy for a second.
Boston Indy. All right, cool. Well, if you go back and listen to the prior podcast, we were nice. We gave him a gentleman's sweep. That was our prediction. We were wrong. It was just a plain sweep. You can crack out your brooms. Jaylen Brown absolutely came to play this series. It was kind of a shame that Tyrese Halliburton went out in game 2. That really shifted the series. But hats off to Indiana for fighting. Every game was close. There was no blowout. And realistically, they should have probably won at least 2 of them so far. But as soon as Halliburton went out, it was just too much. The thing that Boston does, it's so incredible, is that they just throw. They have a lot of similar size guys, right? So they can just keep throwing same dude at you all game. They're all 6'6" and above, long athletes that just keep throwing at you. So eventually they just tire you out. And then the fact that Indianapolis didn't have Halliburton to try to set up his teammates and be a distraction, but the 3-point shot was just not there. And I really feel like after that game 1 loss where they really gave the game away to the Celtics, just kind of really took the wind out of the sails and was the nail in the coffin for the series. But it was entertaining. I'll give them that. And then when you got also Pascal Siakam, I want to shout him out. He really came to play. I want to see that was really a championship pedigree they wanted when they brought him in at the trade deadline. And I'm really interested to see how this team maturates, talking about the Pacers, because Halliburton is really intriguing as a prospect. He led the league in assists this year, or assist average, and he really is coming up into his own as a point guard, as a scorer as well. So hats off to them. I want to talk about hats off to the Pacers. Really want to talk about the Celtics and how This really needs to be their time. And by them completing the sweep, being able to get Kristaps Porzingis back, or I guess the 10 extra days of rest he's going to get now that they don't have to, that they've completed the sweep. Because regardless of whether Dallas finishes off if Dallas wins their series or not tonight, then they're going to have to, they still wait till June 6th to start the series. So it's going to be real key for them, not only for the inside.
Is that confirmed?
That is confirmed. Yes.
They're going to wait till June 6th?
June 6th. I'm sorry. I'm screwing you up over there.
No. I knew you meant June. Because I was talking about it earlier today with a coworker, and I was like, they're going to wait unless I was like, do they wait or do they just, if they sweep, they started early? And he didn't know. And I'm like, well, I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, no. It's so yeah, they wait. So like I said, Boston's got 10 days. But I think just finish that thought on Porzingis. The way we see them scoring and playing great defense and rebounding the way they are, like Tatum, I think averaged 10 rebounds a game in this series with like no slouches on the Pacers. Like they have some length on that team. But yeah, Porzingis in there. Not only can he shoot, he brings an inside scoring threat plus defense. That's right. If he's anywhere near 100%, I don't see how Dallas wins. Yes, spoiler alert. I think Dallas is going to win. I don't see how Dallas keeps up if they're all playing at their game. So that's kind of where I'm thinking, where I'm at. But I do want to touch on one thing though with you, Joey. The Celtics. There was some criticism last year about how difficult the road was for the Nuggets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting to the finals, and they're like, yeah, they didn't really play anybody. They played like a 7 seed Lakers in the Western Conference Finals and blew them out. Blah blah blah. I mean, you look at the Celtics, round one again, and I completely understand Celtics fans do not jump down my throat. Completely understand. You only play the teams that are put in front of you. That's all you can control, and y'all handled business. I'm not trying to say anything in that way because y'all done what y'all had to do to get there.
You don't mean any ill will. Like there's no like you took care of business.
I'm not trying to diminish their accomplishments.
It was made a little easier the fact that the star players were out. For whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. No Jimmy Butler for the Heat. I mean, which everybody knows that team's built around him in the playoff time.
Yep.
This past year is no Halliburton for multiple games, and then you have Donovan Mitchell for the Cavs in round 2. Like that's the team. They've lost 2 games in a stretch, which is dang impressive. But I mean, I want to get your opinion. Do you think not it devalues it, but do you think they've had one of the easier runs to the finals?
I'll say no matter what, when you make it to the playoffs, it's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at this round alone. Every game, Indianapolis had a lead. Indiana had a lead late in the game, and Boston pulled it out and won. So I don't say that, they had an easy route. I think it was difficult to get to this point. It was made, again, using this term loosely, it was made a little easier to get here, but by no means was it easy. It was not as tough. I'll call it not as tough because you game plan for certain players. And when those players are out, it's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, and so like that's why I was trying to really kind of dance around it by not saying I'm like not trying to devalue it. Well, let's call facts facts. I think that Jimmy Butler gives him a lot more trouble. Donovan Mitchell, maybe he's just a hell of a scorer. Let's call it what it is. He could fill it up pretty quickly. I think Halliburton was the one that I feel like they may have taken a game or 2 possibly if he was fully healthy. Like they should have won game 1. For all intents and purposes, they should have won game 1. They gave that game away. And he had a hell of a game that game.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you could say that for a few of the games, but that one just sticks out in my mind.
You could definitely say it for this Eastern Conference Final. I mean, what was the lead in game 1? 20 points or 15 points?
It was like 15 points. Yeah,
it set the record. It set the record for the biggest comeback in a playoff game.
It was gross. It was honestly insane.
But the thing that didn't really help is, you live
It-
by the 3, you die by the 3.
Yeah.
If you're shooting 34.5 from the field when you're Indy, granted, Boston was hitting 31.8 from the 3, but it's something that they're going to go back and look at it, and because you can't truly sit there and say like, if we just had Halliburton healthy, we would have won that. No, there's other players on that team that need to step up.
Yeah.
And
No. 100%.
in my opinion, they got the lead at one point in Game 4, but you have to hold it. So
Well,
they got
yeah.
to do some.
Championship teams.
They
Finish
got to
games
do
off.
some. They got to look at themselves in the mirror and see what's wrong and fix it in this off season, and just figure out life, figure out Indiana basketball, and that's what it is. They got to figure out Indiana basketball and get it to where they're competing for these championships, and they got to not. Hopefully, for their sake, they don't have this hangover of, man, we lost in the Eastern Conference Finals by getting swept.
I don't think
Because that's a
Carlisle lets
dangerous
that
thing.
happen.
I don't think so either. But a lot of times you get those times where, they make it to the conference finals or they make it to the finals and they lose, and it may not be their play, but it could be the injury bug or something like that. So, hopefully for Indiana fans who I think I want to see them get one because, it's like Naismith said, it may not have been born here, but it was perfected here.
Yeah.
Basketball.
Yeah.
So, you
No,
want
no,
to
I hear you.
see. Yeah.
No,
So
look, shout out to Indiana's fans. My goodness. It was absolutely hilarious. Like some of the taunts and stuff I saw. What was it? The Milwaukee series? What was it? Chris Middleton, there's somebody was just like, "Hey, your eyes are too big for your head." I'm like, it's such a fifth grade like childish joke, but I giggled
I laughed
so hard at that.
I love insults like that because like it's not attacking anybody specifically. It's just like, like,
it's lighthearted.
hey,
Like, yes,
I bet when you go to a store, you don't put the cart in the cart rack or something like that. And it's just like, it's so off kilter and so weird that it's so funny.
oh man, yeah, you ain't kidding. But with positive hecklers being said, have you ever seen these guys? God, I gotta remember who they are, but they go to San Francisco Giants games,
Yes.
and
Yes.
yeah, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, so and so, I bet you help little ladies across the streets, you
Yeah.
stud."
I love those because it's like, you hear your name. I bet you hear your name on the field and you're like, oh, damn it. What are they going to say? And
Oh, here it comes.
oh, okay. That's really nice. Okay. Wait, what? Hold on. What? I might try that at the Jesters game this Saturday. See if that
there
works.
you go. Oh, so on to the other series. So we can talk about the Stars after this. They play tonight at time of recording, actually in the next few minutes.
Not the Stars, the Mavericks.
The Mavericks. Let me
It might have tipped off now as of recording.
Okay, I thought it was 7:30. I thought it was a little later, but yeah, who knows?
It might
Anyway,
be. Who knows?
but I digress. I gotta say, and I'm
It
gonna
is
copy
Saturday.
Stephen A. Smith right now. But man, Luka is a bad man, dude. Oh my goodness. I know a lot of people are gonna point back to the game winner over Rudy Gobert. But I mean, it's hard not to. He literally put him in a blender and was like, okay, it. And then, I mean, I don't know if you saw what he was saying to him afterwards, but it was not safe for TV.
No, I
And
mean,
then he looked like he shot him.
Anthony Edwards has talked so much trash in this playoffs. Hey, warranted. Okay. He's backing it up. Okay.
The thing is, in this
It's
series
coming.
at least.
Yeah.
Luka, they're winning this series. Kyrie stepped up, regardless of what you think about him. He is really like becoming playoff Kyrie. And those two may be the best scoring backcourt in the NBA that can just legitimately, most of the time you need like a full team. There's a guy that can get hot for a while. these two guys can literally take over the game. And they may score 80 between the two of them or 70 something between the two of them. But it's honestly phenomenal to watch right now. The simple fact is Luka is such a matchup nightmare for the Timberwolves. He's literally doing whatever he wants. One thing I do want to point out about him is the court vision. My goodness, is absolutely bonkers. I mean, there's one, I think it was last game of the game before that. He's on 1 foot looking like he's fading away shooting. He just stops midair, whips his head across the court, and just fires a perfect dime for a three. It's just that court awareness. It's just that, that feel for the game. And like, because it's not like Jokic, but it kind of reminds me of Jokic. It's like they're not in a hurry. They're going to dictate the pace that they're playing, and they're just going to pick you apart. And it's going to look slow. It may look methodical or slow if some people want to put it that way, but it's a thing of beauty to watch. And I don't see a miracle happening of them winning 4 games. The talk about the Timberwolves. I mean, I can see them taking one. I truly believe they just finished the sweep tonight. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns have not shown up in this series, which is kind of sad after how great they played last series. But maybe they just, gave too much of themselves in the first against the defending champs. But what's your thoughts, bud?
I'll be honest. American Airlines Center is going to be buzzing. You've got the Dallas Stars and the Dallas Mavericks both in their conference final. The Stars just left that building to go to Edmonton for their series. The Mavericks said, all right, our time to hold down the fort. There's no way that this Mavs team loses tonight. They want to complete that sweep tonight. They want to have the finals come through Dallas, and they're going to be a dangerous team in that final. I don't think it's going to be as much of a cakewalk for the Celtics as people
I don't think it is
seem to believe at one point, that if the Mavericks made it this far, it would be easy for them. But I think that, Luka and Kyrie playing the way they've been playing, it's almost like destiny's going to happen for the Mavericks, and they're going to take over.
Okay, so I think I see where you're kind of leaning with your prediction here. I'm gonna get to it in a second. I'm gonna break down. Then we've broken down the Western Conference Finals. We'll talk about our finals preview.
Well, don't do it yet. You can't really do it yet because, I mean, hey, as much as we hate to talk about it, as much as we hate to, you don't think that it's going to happen, but when you don't want to talk. Here's the thing, okay? And this is behind the scenes talk here. You want to make a prediction for the finals between Dallas and Boston. We put this episode out, and somehow the basketball gods hear you and go, you know what? We're going to bring this to 7.
So, all right, let me spit to you a hypothetical.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm not I'm a true believer in, I don't want to jinx it for a franchise.
Okay. All right. So let's do a hypothetical here.
Okay.
If Dallas makes it,
okay,
here's how I see the finals going.
Mm-hmm.
Here's going to be the issue. With Porzingis back, that brings a huge mismatch for
Let me
Dallas.
ask you this. Would Boston have the home court advantage?
Yep.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah, I know, because if the Rangers win, then they have the home ice advantage, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
American Airlines Center, give your people a raise if that happens.
Well, they're going to get all the OT. I don't know.
They're going to be working their ass off that week.
I don't think they're going to have to worry about that. About giving them a raise. They're going to be getting all the overtime. So here's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The mismatch inside with Porzingis concerns me, but they can throw some bodies like Lively and Gafford at him, which we don't know about Lively because he took a nasty knee to the back of the head. But
I saw the injury report.
What I will say is Luka, Kyrie, it's going to come down to them. They have to keep playing out of their minds.
Just so you know, Derek Lively is out for Game 4.
Yeah,
his estimated return date is May 30th.
Okay, so this week. Thursday. So here's my guess, right? I think that Boston wins it in 6 or 7. because the way they can throw defenders at you that are the same length, right? Luka's a tall guy, 6'9", but he's also kind of a thick dude, and he'll wear you down. So that's where it kind of becomes an issue. Now, we'll say where that could backfire on Boston is that if Jason Tatum's guarding him and gets early foul trouble. I think it's going to be a heck of a series. Boston would still be my pick, but Luka looks like a man on a mission right now. Like, really looks like a man on a mission.
If I had to pick, I mean, so hypothetical, if Dallas makes it, I think that they will be the toughest team that Boston has faced.
Oh, easy.
In this playoffs. As a fan, I'd want it to go 7, but I don't know. It'll go 7 or 6. I'm not going to give a prediction until the finals.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll easily record before the finals.
Oh, yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah, we'll have you'll get my full prediction next week.
Just keep the people waiting, Joey.
Yeah, you got to have them wanting to come back for more. Can't just give them all the goodies in the 7th episode.
7th episode. You went 5th, 6th, and 7th there. I like that though.
Shut up.
At least you went in order. So Joey.
You
know what time it is, right?
Oh man.
It's time to talk about them stars.
So
I'm gonna defer to you. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the most recent game, or are we just gonna start talking about the entire series?
So, game 1 didn't go exactly how I wanted it. However, you and I talked about it.
We are nothing but consistent.
Yes, you and I talked about it. I said the Dallas Stars have not won a game 1 outside the bubble since 2019. That still stands as of recording. I mean, listen, this team is deep. This Stars team has depth written all over it. This is basically Vegas from last year. The reason Vegas won the cup last year is because of depth. The reason Dallas, I believe, will win the cup this year is because of depth. Game 1 didn't exactly go the way I wanted, like I said. At one point, it was looking like Dallas was going to win it. We thought Dallas was going to win it at one point in overtime when they beat the goalie. I can't remember. Is it Skinner? Why am I blanking on his name? Sorry about that, Skinner. They beat him.
Talk about with the miraculous stick save.
No, I'm talking about when they beat him and it hit pipe.
Oh,
it went.
Yeah.
If that shot, so it beat Skinner left, it hit the pipe, and then it came out the 5-hole, like right in front of him. And it's like, if it would have done the opposite, like if they would have 5-holed him, they would have scored. And we would be talking about a Dallas 3-0 right now. But Stuart Skinner's a really good netminder. There's a reason they're this far in the playoffs, but Dallas showed up that second game at home, took it over. And then last night, that started rough. You go down 2-0. You go down 2-0 in the first period. You texted me, "What's happening?" I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, there's a lot of game left, so we can't really say that yet.
I know, but I'm not used to bang bang like that early to be like, oh, okay. Well,
I've seen games go like that where it's just like, oh, you get a good run. Okay, now it's your turn. Okay, now it's your turn.
Man,
it made me nervous for a little bit, but when you think about it, I've said this entire playoffs, if Rope Hintz is out, that's going to hurt for Dallas. He made his first game back yesterday, and you kind of have to try to figure it out. How do you set these lines up? Do you go with, a Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, and Evgeny Dodonov as a line, or do you spread that out? So, you figure it out in the first period, and then I don't know what Pete DeBoer said to the team in the first intermission, but whatever it was, they lit it up. 3 goals in 3 minutes and 33 seconds from goal 1 to goal 3. That turned that game completely on its head.
Oh, I mean, Joe, that's like so. I was trying to explain to people that don't watch it, like in other terms. I'm like, imagine like a boxing match when you get hit with like two haymakers. Like one guy gets within the first minute of the fight, and then the second round, all of a sudden they come out and hit three straight uppercuts to start it, and knock them on their butt. It's like you just don't like. It's just insane how quick that happened.
Like this is so, you know, there was something that I haven't mentioned that I heard. I heard it this morning, and when I heard it, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. When Rope Hintz is back, Jason Robertson's back. Jason Robertson hasn't scored a goal in 10 games. He had a hat trick last night.
Hence the hats, people. Hence
like,
the hats.
I tip my hat to Robo. Like, he lit it up last night. I mean, the third goal, and the best part is that third goal in the third period for Robinson is such a Jason Robertson goal. You know, he figured out that, you know, if he made a block to the stick side, he knew there was going to be an opening. I want to say it's a stick side. No, that might be his blocker side, but whatever side it is, he knew there was going to be a hole, and if you watch the goal, he hits it from behind the net, hits it off of Skinner's ass, and it goes into goal. So, you know, you find those holes, you utilize them as best as possible. And then Miro with the empty netter, which
I was about to say, let's not forget the empty netter there.
I think that, you know, that just kind of put the nail in the coffin. But honestly, I think that came down to a coaching error, and we're more of a communication error on Edmonton's side. You lose the face-off right off the bat, and you see the goalie coming in. The coach shouldn't be just looking off to the side going, whoa, whoa, no, 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 no. He needs to be like waving at him like, no, stay. And that just didn't happen from any of the coaches. So, I won't say that that's the reason that they lost the game. You know, it's definitely the reason that the nail got put in the coffin for sure. But they were fighting. They were fighting for the people of Edmonton for sure.
Dude, so what I wrote in my show notes is great way to battle back, mental toughness. This is what champs do.
This is a tough team.
And mentally tough is what I mean. Like, you know, most teams would have been like, okay, 1-1, we'll go down, like get hit 2-0. A non-championship or non-tough team would have been like, okay, folding up shop. Let's pack it in. We still have the rest of the series. They're like, screw that.
I'll compare this to the bubble year. Okay. And the reason I do that is because going into the Winter Classic that year before COVID, they got called out by Jim Lites, the CEO of the Dallas Stars.
Okay.
And by they, I mean Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn. They were not producing the way that they should have coming up to that part of the year. You know, they were paid the most out of the entire team, and they weren't worth a damn. They got called out in public by Jim Lites, and something changed, something flipped. Now Tyler Seguin had some nagging injuries. He needed something done with his hip, and a couple other things. I think this is the most healthy he's been in a while. Jamie Benn, when that stretch of time was happening, we probably thought, you know, as fans, like, you know, maybe this is the time that we start thinking about, hey, Jamie Benn's not going to be a star for very long. He was playing slow. He was just kind of like, he wasn't as quick as he used to be. This is a different Jamie Benn than that was. Like, he's so much quicker.
You think it's a health thing?
So I know that
treatment or something.
I know that the Dallas Stars have started focusing more on their, like, the science side of it all.
Okay.
Marty Turco said in an interview with Spit and Chicklets that, you know, they've finally started to trust. I don't want to say trust the science behind it, but like they have a guy there that's, you know, looking at the science of it all, of like recovery, nutrition, and all that. Like they're serious about this. So they've turned it around, and, you know, for the better for Stars fans. Like, it shows on the ice.
Well, I was about to say, I don't know if you've ever like researched into that stuff. It's fascinating. Some of the new recovery statistics, and when it can come down to something as simple as like somebody's eating too much wheat in their diet. and their body just doesn't react well to
Well,
it.
I'm sure they had
No, I'm
like
just
that
saying
kind of stuff.
it's
I'm sure they had
fascinating.
that kind of stuff. It is like I'm sure they've had that kind of stuff go around, but it's just they put more emphasis on it. Like
Yeah,
they're heavier into it, and it's you can tell on the ice. They just seem like they can go further. They can, you'd think they would struggle in Denver when they played Colorado, and they're getting deep into the overtime, and they don't look like they've lost a step. Whereas other teams would be like, I need oxygen, like hook me up.
I really believe I was reading something about this that a lot of that has to do with depth as well. How it's just body after body after
This is
body, and
a
just
deep,
deep
deep
team. Exactly,
team. And
because
here's the thing,
you're not having a
right now,
drop off from line to line. You know what I mean? Like
so
if at all.
so Dallas has been playing with primarily a 5 defensive set. So they're rotating 5 defenders,
Mhm.
out of the group. Typically you do
Yeah,
6. They're they are missing Yanni Hakanpää right now. If he comes back, be damned whoever's in the way. Like they're in
it's so
trouble.
weird.
This team is
It's so
so deep.
that's what I said. That's what I was about to say. It's so weird when you say like, "Oh yeah," and this guy's out. When you just think about it, it's like, geez, who else is like they're just pulling out, right? Like it almost seems like they're just getting these guys off the street. It's like, oh, okay, well, we forgot you were injured, but now you're back.
Like when Rope went down, it was, that one hurt. Like I said, obviously Robertson. I keep saying Robinson. It's Robertson.
Hey,
Okay.
it's not Mrs. Robinson, okay?
I know. Listen, his entire time as a star, I've always called him Robinson. I'm like, why? He's Robertson. But when Rope was out, Robo was like a ghost. He was still making an impact, but he wasn't scoring the goals. Rope's
11
back.
games that one.
Here it is. Like the proof is right there on the score sheet. Rope
I mean,
assisted in 2 of the 3 goals scored by him.
talk about just like releasing the pressure, though, right? Like you go from that drought to all of a sudden, boom, hat trick. Like, hey, I
They
ain't hating
needed
on
it.
it. I love it. Yeah, it's a confidence booster, and it's a way to be like, okay, here's my stamp on this series now. But speaking of the series, good segue here. It's almost like I do this. How many more games do you see this series going, Joey? You got 2 more. You got it going to the 7th game, 6th game. What you got?
If they play like they did last night, it's going 2 more games. If they play like they did game 1, 3. Because that first in game 1, it was honestly like it could have gone either way.
Yeah,
Like I don't necessarily like when you lose in overtime, it could be anybody's thing. And the Stars had their time where they dominated overtime. The Oilers had time where they dominated overtime, and they just hit at the right time.
Yeah.
I do think that one of the goal that I want to say it was Connor McDavid scored in the first period. No, Zach Hyman scored. I thought that goal should not have counted, but that would have been in the old rules where you're not allowed in the crease whatsoever.
Yeah, it was a
We
little
kind
odd
of
as somebody
like you
that
look at it and you're just like, they can do that.
yeah, that's exactly that was my initial thought. I appreciate the explanation though.
It used to be
Definitely
it
helped me out.
in all honesty, it used to be a rule where you could not enter the crease before the puck did and score.
Okay.
Ask any Buffalo Sabres fan about the 1999 Stanley Cup Finals when Brett Hull scored the goal in I want to say it was the 3rd overtime. I'm probably wrong. And gave the Dallas Stars the Stanley Cup in 99. They will tell you that goal should not have counted, but it did. So shut up and get over it.
Referees ruling is final.
But like they were arguing it after the game, like, oh, this goal, like they were like, we're looking at it. It may not count, but the Stars were already celebrating on the ice and everything. And
Talking about Joey, for the amount of crap that we've gotten as Saints fans with those like gut wrenching calls. You know what? I'll let you have this one.
It
okay?
happened.
You don't
It
have to
happened
explain
in the
yourself.
final. Yeah, like give me one.
You don't have to. You don't have to
It's
explain
not
yourself. Okay.
It's not the same team. Give me one.
Yeah, I'll give you one. Okay.
But
You
no,
know?
like it. it was also like why I became a Stars fan. I watched that game, watching Mike Modano go up and down the ice, and I remember looking at my dad saying, "Whoever wins this game, that's who I'm a fan of." I didn't realize that it was the final game of the series or it was a deciding game of the series. And I was also 9, so
Hey, what you got?
I also
I
didn't
mean,
realize. I also didn't put 2 and 2 together that like, oh, I'll be able to see every game because we're in their market and all that until freaking Bally Sports took over. Stupid blackouts.
Joey,
But
that's just going to be divine intervention, is what I'm going to call that.
I like it.
It was meant to be.
I like it.
So,
But
is there
I
anything else you want to touch on the series about right now?
It's by no means over.
No,
Edmonton
by
is
no
a tough
means.
team. A lot of people are saying like it may be a little more over than I'm saying it is, but
You're being
it's tough.
cautious.
It's tough to play in that barn. But if like as deep as this Stars team is, as as many successful lines that they have on this team, I feel like it's inevitable that we're gonna that the Stars are gonna win, but I just hope they do not touch the Campbell Bowl. Do not touch the trophy. No, you leave it on the table. You skate up to it. You take your team picture and you leave. That's why I think that's why they lost in the bubble, because 2 of the players were touching it, and I'm like, no. And the Lightning didn't touch it because you're not there for that prize. You're there for the Stanley Cup.
All I'd say is I think. Look,
I do have one more rant before the end of this episode.
Oh yeah, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think that some people are more optimistic than you are because of the way they came back after being punched in the face like that, and just dominating. But on that note, what's your rant?
So you heard me mention blackouts.
Here we go.
All right. So I want to take you back to the beginning of this episode where I talked about Memorial Day festivities, and I talked about the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500. Did you know that up until right before they started the race, because of the rain, if it didn't rain and that race started on time, the entire Indianapolis area was not going to be able to watch the Indianapolis 500 live?
Because it wasn't a sellout?
Nope. They needed 5,000 more tickets sold. How stupid is that? That is so dumb.
I think
if you really want, okay, so here's the problem. I get you want people to go. I get it. But that area relies on the Indianapolis 500 for revenue, for all that stuff. Why are you going to punish the entire area of Indianapolis that cares about that race, that may not be able to afford to go? Why are you punishing them because people like me who want to go to that race don't go from out of town?
Well,
you don't get enough if you have something that draws, like, try to get the casual fan to go one time. Bring something. They have the Snake Pit. It's a concert venue. Bring an artist of some sort to be like, hey, look, they're going to perform after the race.
No, that's a great idea.
Formula One does it. They have Eminem performing at the USGP in COTA in Austin.
No, that's a great idea.
Like,
we got to bring the casual fan in, like you said.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I think hypothetically, if you went, if I said, Tyler, you and I are going to the Indianapolis 500, and you went and you watched it, you would be like, oh my God, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be like, I want to watch this every year. And you would.
Because it's an atmosphere thing, right?
Right. It's so cool to see in person. I've never seen it in person, but I've heard stories of people who have, and they're like, if you get the opportunity, go. It's more than just cars going around in a circle for 200 laps.
No. What I'm saying is, I'm sure there's a history and like I said earlier, the aura of being there. Look,
oh yeah,
I'm a diehard Yankees fan. I went to Boston and went to Fenway Park. I can fully appreciate the history, like the moments that have happened there. And yeah, a lot of them have been good for the Yankees, but a lot of them have been pretty crappy for the Yankees. But it was just like being just a person, right? Just a regular human being that can appreciate the moment.
You feel
was
the
awesome.
history when you walk on those hallowed grounds of the Brickyard.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
When you go, like, but you go for the thing is with Indianapolis, it's like the month of May is almost like an extended holiday. You have, you have they call it like the whatever sponsor GP, which runs on the road course in the middle of May. And then those 2 weeks leading up to the 500, there's practice every day until you get to the first weekend. It's qualifying day. Then the second day, if you have more than 33 cars, it's bump day. And it is some of the most nerve-wracking experiences to enjoy. On qualifying day, it's actually somewhat exciting because, they all qualify at least once. And then it's like you have 6 hours or however long they give them. And you can run again to try to make it to the Fast 12. And there's 2 lines. Line 1 is I want to withdraw my time, I want to withdraw my speed, and I go again.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do worse, you get that worse time because you withdrew your first time. Like your first speed is gone, you do it again. Then there's the no risk,
taking a risk.
Then there's the no risk line where it's like, maybe I can improve, and they'll send you out and you can try to improve. And if you do, you do. If you don't, then you don't get it. But if you're in the no risk line and there's 3 cars in the the risk line, you wait till they all go. It doesn't matter if they got there before you or after you. You have to wait till every car is gone before you go.
Oh, geez.
So when you get to the last 45 minutes, you're looking like, ooh, this is going to get kind of interesting because there's cars there waiting. There's cars there ready to go. Like, it gets nerve-wracking. Then when you go to bump day, they take the slowest 4. If you so this year they had 34 cars. The slowest 4 qualified against each other. It was 4 or 5, whatever. But they all ran a time. Somebody wasn't in, and that team waited. Like those teams waited until like 10 minutes left, and then one car went out. He messed up, so he had to cool down the car, got it in, and they can't go and like pump cold water into the car to cool it.
Oh no.
You're on pit road, and that's it. So he did like a mock run where he just went slow. It got waved off, but air lets the engine cool faster. So he just kind of ran it slow around, pit the car. They ran another one, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. He made it. Graham Rahal, who didn't qualify last year for the 500, was in danger of not qualifying again, was in 33rd. An 18-year-old, I can't remember his name, and I feel really bad. He went for it, and he went so late, Graham Rahal was ready to go again. They couldn't send him out because time was up. And the traditional thing is they go to the podium and they fire a gun, and that means qualifying is closed. If you're on the track, you run your laps, and that's it. If you're in line, tough, you're out.
Oh well.
You're stuck with what you got. And he was on the edge, hit turn 1, back end stepped out, smashed into the wall. He didn't make it. Graham Rahal was in. And it is some of them, like, it's single car runs, and they're only going like I think the top qualifying time that day was like 2:31 for that group. But it's, you're on the edge of your seat. Like, oh my God, is Graham Rahal going to miss the Indy 500 for a second year in a row? Is, this 18-year-old going to dethrone him, or is he going to miss? Is a former champion who messed up in qualifying by stopping a lap early, is he going to miss the show? So just that alone makes that a little special. It makes it a little more exciting than just, okay, there goes a car going around 4 times, boom, done. There's like it's not storylines, but it's like there's more depth to it. And
yeah, no. And if you're not giving the people the opportunity to see that on television, or if you're not because of blackouts or whatever, then it kind of takes it away, and you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, right?
Yeah. I mean, all the drivers have called for like end the blackout, like stop blacking the event out in the area. Like, I get you want to show it. I will get you want people there. But there's got to be something that can be done about, like, you don't see NASCAR doing that. Like if they're in
Well,
Charlotte, they don't sell out the Coke 600. They're still going to show it in the Charlotte area.
you'll also get people that buy the seats and stuff like that up to technically circumvent the rule, like the Saints did that a bunch of times back in the day. But I do think, and we can go a full hour on blackouts and are like the reason behind them and why I personally think they're going to go away now. Streaming's coming around a lot more because you're just not going to have it won't be so much a blackout. It's just you have the service or you don't. Right. And I think it's a good thing, but there's also some takeaways. But I totally agree with you, man, that it does need the practice does need to stop because you're just hurting the fans that actually want to watch it. Like you said, it's an extended holiday in May for these people in Indianapolis, but they can't even celebrate it if it's not on television. Or let's talk financials here, right? What if they have people that can't afford to go but have traveled from like different towns that wanted to be a part of the experience, be in the town,
right?
They want to go watch it at a bar, can't do it. You know what I mean? You're taking away from the bars business. So there's a lot of people that get hurt all for selling 5,000 tickets. And granted, people got to make money to keep this stuff going. But
now, like I said,
there's ways around it.
Like I said, because of the weather and the delay, they didn't think everyone was going to stay. So they rescinded the blackout. But at the same time, it's like there were years, and I mean like years, that you would see empty stands at the Indy 500. And it's like, oh my God, like how is this prestigious event so empty? But then the family that owned it, they didn't really take it, like they didn't really upkeep it. It wasn't that clean. When Roger Penske bought it, like I've heard, on the NASCAR side and an Indy side, like it is so much like cleaner and updated. Like it doesn't look grungy. It looks like prestigious again.
Well, you're honoring the history and making it inviting, right?
Right.
And that's how it should be. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on that one.
No, you're good. Like think of it like this. If like, the Superdome, or think of like say, okay, Fenway. Okay, let's just use Fenway because it's a historic stadium. It'd be like if the Fenway group were just like, we're relying on the history of this building to get people to keep coming. And they don't maintain, the concession stands, they don't maintain the seats, they don't maintain scoreboards and all that stuff. And then you have, I don't know, like Alex Rodriguez comes out and says, I'm going to buy Fenway and the Red Sox. And he goes in and just says, I'm cleaning house. Like we're putting newer seats that kind of keep the history. And, we're going to keep the red seat for Ted Williams' home run. All that. And, updated LED boards everywhere, but we're going to keep the history look and all that. Like that's what it would be like.
I think that's the best way of doing it, though. And that's what you need to do. Because as things go on, they need to be modernized to keep up with people's. I mean, hell, let's call it what it is. Our attention span nowadays is way different than what it used to be.
Yeah.
And people's expectations of what clean is and what up to date is always constantly changing. I mean, look at the Superdome. It's already got how many $1 million renovation. Like I said, we can dive completely down this rabbit hole, and I really do want to jump in. I think it's a good episode idea, is the blackout history and what led to it and what is going to ultimately lead to his downfall. What you think, Broseph?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, got to talk about it someday. We keep ranting about it.
Well, let's call that a deal. And then also, I just noticed, man, we're running into the basketball game, so I think we need to wrap this one up. We've given way more information. This is going to be our longest episode ever, so enjoy it for number 7. And, keep on rocking. Keep it going. We'll be back again. Go Stars. Peace.
Woo. Deuces.